Everyone hates being sung happy birthday, and everyone hates singing happy birthday, so what the fuck are we doing here? Night before a day off is more satisfying than the actual day off. If we colonize Mars and bring chicken with us, then they would have the ability to actually fly, since Mars' gravity is about 38% Earth's gravity. Putting groceries in the freezer is like Tetris, but taking them out is like Jenga. Since we test drugs on animals first, rat medicine must be years ahead of human medicine. 100 years ago, we made the roads smoother so people could travel quicker. Now, we have to add bumps so people travel slower. Porn sites prove that companies can just develop fully functional websites for mobile clients instead of insisting you download an app. Somewhere, two best friends are meeting for the first time. You hope that your friends forget your embarrassing moment, but in reality you probably forget all of theirs. Drinking water while going swimming in the rain on a cruise ship at sea is the ultimate aquatic experience. A monk who spends years in solitude and contemplation is considered a wise source of life advice, but the guy who lives alone next door who you rarely see leave his apartment is that creepy neighbor. We're all pretty lucky that roaches, spiders, and other creepy crawlies don't understand how creepy we find them. Imagine if the spiders knew how much better they could protect themselves by jumping at your face. Games companies shouldn't heavily focus on graphics, as the most successful game is a game made up of blocks. If Taco Bell ever starts making edibles, it's going to create an infinite feedback loop. For a guy raised on a desert planet with two sons, Luke Skywalker doesn't have much of a tan. Saying you don't want to lift weights because you don't want to look like a bodybuilder is like saying you don't want to play basketball because you might become Michael Jordan. Spider-Man 2 now refers to 3 different films. Trees that were cut to make Jenga are repeatedly living their death over and over again. How it's made could honestly save us in the event that we have some sort of technological setback. Everyone thinks aliens will attack Earth with no hesitation because that's what we've done in the past when discovering new land. Zombies that manage to defeat entire modern civilizations with no communication, intelligence or basic motor control are a slap to the face of thousands of years of human evolution. Shark Boy and Lava Girl had the perfect premise because no matter how bad it was, it felt like it was made by a kid. Which is enjoyable for kids and nostalgic for adults. If for 10 years, Hollywood stopped making sequels, reboots and reimaginings, there would probably be a golden age for movies. You probably just synchronized blinks with millions of people. Literally taking a shit into liters of water is the biggest flex towards third world countries. You have never seen a high school movie in which students use the lockers on the bottom. Saying someone has big balls is perceived as them being extra tough, and saying someone has a thick skull is perceived as them being stupid. But in reality, if your balls were enormous, you'd be extremely vulnerable and easy to drop, and if your skull was extra thick, you'd be much harder to hurt. The most effective alarm clock is a full bladder. The whole point of a book's cover is so people can judge it. The most unrealistic part about friends isn't the size of their apartments, but the fact that the couch in Central Perk is always available for them. You weren't picked last, you just weren't picked. You joined the second team by default. Money has previously been referred to as dough and now as bread. It is likely that it will be referred to as toast later in the future. Because kids make friends with random kids while on holiday, somewhere there's probably a pic of a 7-year-old you in the album of a family you've completely forgotten. Phineas and Ferb is the biggest reason why people remember what an aglet is. Naming a bird talon is like naming a human toenail. There's probably millions of before pictures without after pictures because the person gave up. Bad guys, in movies, etc., are actually the ones who exhibit many traits we value. Being proactive, making plans, having goals, and so on. Good guys never make plans, they just react to whatever the bad guys do. Out of all the theories involving how the world would end, Wall-E's plot comes the closest of it all. The happiest stage of most people's lives is when their brains aren't fully developed yet. The book The Lorax was about saving trees and the environment, but sold millions of paper copies. A pregnant woman has 4 arms, 4 legs, 2 heads, 2 hearts, and possibly a penis. Andy's mom went out of her way to redo his room in Buzz Lightyear decor after his birthday, just to pack it all up and move the same week. History is repeating itself. We're about to enter the 20s with a booming economy. It makes you think what will happen in the 2030s. If you think about it, the way we celebrate the 4th of July is very insensitive to veterans with PTSD. There could be lots of identical snowflakes. Nobody's checking all of them. Fat is like human rust. If you don't treat your body right and move it often, it develops an unsightly substance that is hard to remove. Korn, Limp Bizkit, Green Day, Nirvana, and Guns N' Roses are now old enough to be considered classic rock. Buying someone a gift card instead of just giving them cash is more inconvenient for everyone involved. People aren't addicted to their phones, they're addicted to the feeling of being connected to other people that their phone enables. Because cats like to push things off of ledges, when Scar pushed his brother off the cliff, it might have felt normal.